Hello, Experience Corps volunteers. My name is LaVon Nichols, and today we'll be talking about video conferencing etiquette. We want to make sure that as we all go into this new virtual space, that you have the best video conferencing experience as possible. First, we have to set up our space. We would like to eliminate anything that would cause the students' attention to be taken away from you and the structured tutoring session. We would like to eliminate any noises that would come from a nearby radio or television. It's also best to minimize the amount of walking that may be happening from other people that are in the household. And also those furry animals that like to jump on the table and say hi, let's make sure that they do not become a distraction for the students. Next, we want to choose an appropriate background. And so we want to make sure that the background that the student is seeing is not too distracting from their learning. And so you can use the home that you live in, or we now have the ability to use a virtual background. Virtual backgrounds are available on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and Google Meets. I'm going to give you some examples of virtual backgrounds that you can choose. This background is to mimic someone's kitchen or living space. This is an appropriate background and should not be distracting to the students. Although this background is very fun and engaging, it may be a little too busy and distracting for the students. Here is another background that you can use that is not too distracting for the students. Remember, choose a neutral background, something that is nice but not too distracting. On some platforms, you are also able to use the blur feature, which blurs out your background if you do not want your space shown. Next, we want to check our appearance before we get on camera as to not become a distraction to the students by fixing our hair and our clothing. Experience Corps recommends that volunteers wear business casual attire. If possible, try to wear something that says Experience Corps, such as your lanyard, or a vest or shirt that says Experience Corps. This will help the students and their guardians identify you as an Experience Corps volunteer. Next step is very important. It's all about lighting. Lighting allows the student to see you clearly. Now, there are a number of ways to achieve great lighting, but the first, and I believe the best, is natural light that comes from a window. Now, if you are able to have access to a window, make sure that you are sitting in front of the light, instead of the light being behind you. I'm going to give you an example of what it looks like when my back is facing my light source. This is what it looks like when my back is facing the light source. You see this exposure right here is now casting a shadow on my face. So if you're able to, make sure that you have your light source in front of you. Another example of this is when you have a lamp or a ring light, and you would also want those light sources to be directly in front of your device that you are using and in front of you for the best flattering light. Next, we want to position the camera in the best angle. If we position the camera wrong, the student is not able to really see our facial expressions and what it is that we are doing. If we face the camera too far up, the student most likely will only be looking at your eyes and the top of your head. Let me demonstrate. We want to make sure that the camera is always eye level. So whatever device you are using, make sure that it's always eye level, not too far up and not too far down. Make sure you practice. The next tip is, when at all possible, try to look directly into the camera. There is a difference when we are looking into the camera and when we are not. Right now, I am looking into the screen. I'm looking at myself and looking at the student. But when I'm looking directly into the camera, the student knows that we are now having virtual eye-to-eye contact and I am speaking directly to them. So when at all possible, try to look directly into the camera when you are speaking to them. Now that we have set up our space, we don't want to do anything to disturb the lighting or the virtual background that we have put in place. So please make sure that you keep all of your reading A to Z materials handy right by you, so you do not have to go and get anything. Everything is right there next to you. I hope you found these tips useful. Make sure that you practice and become familiar with the settings on your virtual platform. And if you need help, make sure you talk to an experienced Corps staff.